Good morning, everyone. Hello.
Good morning, sir.
Good morning. Right. We'll start now. Oh, I have put that wrong way actually. Right. Now this last lesson. Yeah, this one. Today, of course, we will discuss the last bit of this session. I think I didn't discuss that. No, oh, I discussed here. Finish here. I finished that. No. Yeah, this we discuss then the last measure. Last week we started the discussion on elasticity. The effect of price and income on demand quantities. So we said now there is a negative relationship between price and quantity demanded when other factors are held constant. That is according to law of demand. That is law of demand. Then we ask the question, okay, suppose the price changes by 10%, 15%. By how much quantity demanded changes? In other words, the quantification, some measure to quantify the percentage change in quantity demanded when price changes by certain percentage. Elasticity. This is called elasticity. How elastic? How inelastic? Similarly, income also, in response to income also, people change their demand. Some cases, when income changes by certain percentage, people change demand more than that. In some other case, highly insensitive to the income change. Income changes by 10%, but demand changes by only 0.5%, like that, income. Similarly, we change quantity demanded of a good or service in response to the price of another good. Price of a substitute good for this one, or price of the complementary good for this one. That is another measure. Like that, we discuss price elasticity of demand, income elasticity of demand, cross price elasticity of demand. We interpreted those things and we discussed few examples. Today, the last measure, as I can remember, we didn't discuss the price elasticity of supply, supplier's behavior. This is a measure that quantify the supply law of supply curve. It's a supply side measure. When the price changes, quantity supplied. When paddy price increases, the paddy farmers might change quantity supply. When fish price changes, fishermen might change the quantity supplied. By how much? Quantification of the supply of the good or service, right? That is the last measure. Similar to this other measures, definition is same. Percentage change in quantity supplied. Earlier measures, quantity demanded. Quantity supplied divided by percentage change in price of that good. Of course, other factors are held constant. According to our notation, percentage delta stands for the change. These days, when you say delta, you remind one of these the COVID variant delta. Quantity supplied divided by percentage change in the price. What do you think about the sign of this price elasticity of supply? When price increases, quantity supplied, suppliers are willing to supply more. Quantity supplied increases. Both moving the same direction, either plus or minus. That means altogether, the overall, as a whole, price elasticity of supply will be positive. If the denominator positive, numerator is positive. If denominator negative, numerator negative. Right? In the case of the price elasticity of demand, they change opposite direction. price change positive, quantity change negative. But in this case, price change positive, quantity change positive. If price change negative, quantity change negative. Like that, the price elasticity of supply is always positive. Always positive. Similar to the demand curve, we can identify the relatively elastic supply curve. Supply curve is positive, flatter. Percentage change in price is percentage is 1%. Quantity change, quantity supply changes more than the price change. Relatively elastic supply. Relatively inelastic. Price change is certain percentage, but the quantity supplied change percentage is less than the price change. Relatively inelastic supply. You have to indicate P, Q, y-axis P, quantity axis QS, y-axis P, quantity axis QS. Then perfectly inelastic supply, vertical supply curve. Perfectly elastic supply curve, horizontal supply curve. Right? That is in terms of the supply curve, we can explain, understand the elasticity measure, price elasticity of supply, price elasticity of supply. Now, definition, we discussed. Definition is what? Our trick. Mathematically, we fix denominator. Percentage change in price is 1%. Then, what is price elasticity of supply? Price PES is the percentage change in quantity supplied for when price of that good changes by 1%. Simple. Price elasticity of supply. Right? Okay. Now then, from this, we stop the discussion on elasticity measures. Elasticity, price elasticity of supply. Here, any questions about this price elasticity of supply? Supply. Yes. Yeah. Farmers. Now, I'm thinking of give some practical example, because in every measure we discuss some examples. Yes, I'll remember. Later I can discuss these examples. Anyway, now that is about the elasticity. Now we will move to quiz. Week 5 quiz. Quiz number 3. This covers production possibility frontier, then the demand curve, supply curve, theory of demand, then the elasticity, application of elasticity, quantity demand. Last section I will discuss some quantitative examples. I will discuss those things, how to solve that. Right. Okay. Now I want you to try question number 1. Question number 1. There are from parts from A to I. Question number 2, A to G. Okay, let's do those two. Only those two. Simple, short questions. Short question. You can use your notes. You can use your notes. These are open book exams. Now, online exam. These are open book exams online, and the open book exams. You can refer your notes, discuss with your friends. No problem. Right. Now I will give you actually very short questions. It's a difficult thing. I will give you now. It is 10:40, 10:40, 10:40, 11:10. 11:10 will stop. 11:10, half an hour. Half an hour. After that, I will discuss the answers and the other balance 2 questions. Right. Okay. We'll start now. First, and this second question. Only first 2 questions, right? First question and the second question. Others, of course, I will discuss. Okay, thank you. Let's start now. Just in your notebook, you just answer those. What is implied by the concave PPC? What is implied by the linear PPC? In terms of production, the opportunity cost, we are asking that question. Right, we'll discuss now. First question, what is implied by the concave PPC production possibility curve? What is implied by the linear PPC production possibility curve? The first lesson we discussed the production possibility front curve or the boundary or the curve is a very simple economic tool. Different shapes. PPC generally concave. Too good, good one, good two. Good one and good two. Generally, production possibility curve is concave to the origin. This is the origin. Origin. Different shapes can be there. It could be linear. Linear production, good one, good two. Could be linear, straight line, PPC. The two questions are about the concave. This is concave shape, concave. This is a linear. Linear PPC, right? Now, what is the difference between these two? Is the opportunity cost. Now, in that lesson we discussed. We said that the PPC can be used to illustrate important economic concept. Scarcity of factors of production. Economy cannot attain these points, production combinations, by scarcity of resources. Inside the point, inside this combination of goods, economy can, but you need not to employ all the available resources, labor and capital, and factors of production. On the production process frontier, efficient production combination. We employ all the resources. This is the maximum combination of two goods economy can achieve. Maximum combination. Maximum combination of two goods that the economy cannot achieve. Can't you see now? Wait. I'm sorry. Right. Can you see the board now? Can you see? Yes. I'm sorry. The two different shapes of the PPC. Production possibility, concave, linear. Now this first one is concave to the origin. This is the origin. Concave, linear. You can draw another one actually convex. Convex PPC. Convex PPC is like this. Two goods. Convex. Would be like this. But generally, for a real economy, actual the economy, generally it is concave. This is the correct version. This is convex. Right. So the scarcity of labor, scarcity of factors of production, inefficient allocation of factors of production, efficient allocation of factors of production. We discussed. Right. But the opportunity cost, other day I did mention, opportunity cost is this. Let's assume these are 100 units, all 100 units. 100 units of this, 100, for example, 100, 200, 300, 400, 500. Like that. Then what will happen? Economy, suppose economy is at this point. Initially, economy is at A. Right? Economy is at A. What is production of good one? 0. At this point, 0. Let's say this is 500, 500, 500, and 0. Now the economy decides. Policymaker, the government decides, okay, we want to move to another point. Because in this case, good one, 0. 0 and 500. Now, the treasury or the planning department decides, no, we need some more good one. Therefore, we want to move to this point. What does that mean? You increase. Using same resources, you reallocate resources. You take some from B, good do, and employ to good one. Because you want to get good one, 100 units, 100 units. You move to B. Then again they say, okay, now A is not enough, you want to move to C. What do? You take some factors of production good 2, again employ to good 1. Good 1 sector, labor and capital, take and employ. Good 1 increases. Sometimes to D, good 1 increases like that. Reallocation of factors of production from good 2 to good 1. So then you increase the good 1 output as well. Good 1 output as well. But that's an important point. When you, from here to here, you want to increase good 1, yes. But you have to cut down output of good 2 this one. B to C, you increase good 1, but you have to cut down output of good 1 this one. C to D, you increase good 1, but you have to cut down output of good 2, good 1 this one. Every time when you increase the output of good 1, you have to give up, sacrifice some the output of good 1. Not only that, it increases. This foregone output, sacrifice increases. You have to give up more and more. You have more and more output of good 2 to get 100 units of the other good. You see? Very small. It increases. Because to get 100 units of this output, you sacrifice, you forego increasing amount of good 1. This distance is called the opportunity cost of first 100 units of the opportunity cost of first 100 units of good 1. Opportunity cost of second 100 units of good 1. Opportunity cost of third 100 units of good 1. Opportunity cost of fourth 100 units of good 1. How much you have to cut down, forego the output of the other good to get 100 units of good 1, first good, some fixed amount of good 1. Right? It increases. Opportunity cost increases. So opportunity cost increases when you move from, let's say G, when you move from A to C, A to C, A to C, opportunity cost increases. Opportunity cost increases. Cost of the good 1, 100 units of good 1 increases when move from A to G. Opportunity cost first 100 units, opportunity cost of first 100 units. You move from A to B. A increases, 1 increases, but you have to cut down to second 100 opportunity cost, third 100 units opportunity cost. So in the concave production possibility frontier, along the concave production possibility frontier, opportunity cost of producing 1 good increases. Second one, linear. That is interesting. Linear means what? 100 units. What will happen? Always you cut down same amount of the other good. Same of this distance, same. Why? It is a straight line. Straight line. Along the linear production possibility frontier, along a linear production possibility frontier, opportunity cost is constant. Along a concave production possibility frontier, opportunity cost increases, increasing opportunity cost. Right? Then what will happen? Convex. Opportunity cost decreases. Opportunity cost decreases. Convex. Opportunity cost decreases. So the production possibility frontier. This is the relationship between linear and the concave. Along the concave production possibility frontier, concavity of PPC, concave PPC implies the increasing opportunity cost. Linear production possible front implies the constant opportunity cost. Constant opportunity cost. Right. Now you can see, I think you can see see me and the tutorial. Part C, understand, part C, if you are a president, would you be more interested in your economic advisors' positive views or their normative views? Why? Positive views or normative views? You are a president. You are the leader. You have so many consultant advisors, economic advisors. When you take certain the policy decision, so advisors advise, right? Going for organic fertilizer, right? Then ask advice. What do you think? What is your opinion, right? Because our election manifesto, we have mentioned that. What do you think, right? Good or bad? So what do you think? Then the advisors start telling. So they say yes, good. It is good. It is good. So many things, right? So what is positive views? Positive view means if you do this, this will be the result. If you do that, this will be the result. Cause and effect, right? Cause and effect will be there. But the normative views, only cause and effect and plus some judgments, opinions based on your knowledge. You give some value judgments also, personal value judgment. His Excellency, the President, yes, if you go for the organic, in the short run, the production of these agricultural crops will go down. But at the same time, farmers' income will go down, right? Their cost of living price will increase. Cost of living increases, so we'll have to do something about that. Something like that. You give advisors, means normative part is important. Not only the positive part. Advisor should give not only the fact. If you do this, that will be the result. Do that, that will be the result. You stop that coin. No. You have to give, you are a good advisor, you have to give him, president, educate the president about not only the facts, plus some consequences, good or bad, you have to say, right? Sometimes you can argue, no. President expect only the facts, not the evaluation, whether it is good or bad, president might decide. But more interested means, okay, you have to have good advice. Oh, this is the result. Yes, these are the result, but these are the consequences. Farmers will be affected. They will start the opposing this, mean objections. Then the long term, it is not. There will be some the protest campaigns that will be expensive, cost to the economy in the long run. Like that, very good idea. So it is normative views. For me, it is normative views are important, right? If you are a president. What are the main economic systems studied in economics? 3 types of basic economic systems. Centrally planned economic system. I think in my note I have mentioned that. Please take down very first note. Then the free enterprise economy system. After that, mixed economies. 2 extremes, free enterprise economy system and the centrally planned economy system, 2 extremes. Free enterprise economy system, government intervention to the economy is nil. But central planned economic system, everything is done by government. Then the mixed economy, market economy. Both parties are there. We have the mixed economy in Sri Lanka. You have private sector buses, government buses. Private hospitals, government hospitals. Private schools, government schools. So in the government sector, public sector institutions, they take economic decision. The decisions, using their ministry's approval or the state minister's approval, or they have some other discussions with the president, they take decisions. But the private sector, board of directors are there, they take decision like that. Okay. The economic system. The GDP of a country, GDP, generally, if you don't have any idea about GDP, gross domestic product is the total output of the economy. Total output is we have separate lecture on this matter, the subject, the calculations, various concepts. But at the moment, think about the gross domestic product, total output in the economy, total production in the economy in a given period of time, maybe year, annually. So this is in the GDP in this annual report, Central Bank annual report. They have mentioned GDP, gross domestic product, per capita income calculations, everything is there. I'll listen. GDP of a country could be increased. To increase GDP production, you employ factors of production, FOP, land, labor, capital, entrepreneurship, these skills, resources. By employing resources, you can increase GDP. Yes, GDP, if you take a factory, if you want to increase the output, employ more and more factors of production. Supermarket, if you want to increase the output, the retail trading, employ more and more factors of production. If you want to increase the bank, increase the service given by the bank, have more customer counters, more people, more computers, like that. But this statement says GDP of a country could be increased only, underline, only by employing more labor and capital into the production process. True or false? Explain. True or false? Explain. The statement says if you want to increase the output, employ more people, employ more computers, more machines, more computers. True or false? Explain. What is your answer? Tell me. What do you think? Is it true or false?
False.
Okay, good. Why is that? Yes? Why is that? It is false. Why is that? When you employ more and more factors of production, GDP increases, no? Is there any other way to increase GDP? That is my question. Is there any other way? Your answer is correct. There is another way. How? How do you increase the output?
We can increase export.
You can increase what?
Export.
No, I didn't get you. You can increase, we can increase what? You said something. You said something. You can increase what? You are right, yeah. What we can increase? Yeah.
Exports.
Exports. Okay. Think about the factory. Export. Factory, you have the people. You have machines. If you want to increase factory output, you can increase people, head counts, number of people. You can introduce more and more machines. Definitely, that is one way to increase the output. Is there any other way to increase the output? There is. What is the other way? Not the exports. Actually, this statement is false. But there is another way to increase. How do you do that? In the factory, let's say it is a shirt factory. They produce shirts. Per day, if one worker produces 3 shirts per day, by giving training, on-the-job training, giving other facilities, the financial facilities, other benefits, if you can make him to produce 5 shirts per day, earlier 3 shirts per day, 5 shirts a day. In the factory, if there are 10 workers, earlier they were producing 3 shirts per day per person. That means 30 shirts. If you can increase, make all of them to produce 5 shirts per day, then 30 to 50. Number of workers same, number of machines same. What is this concept is called what? Yes, this concept is called what? Yes, productivity improvement. By employing more headcounts, more machines, more people, you can say, okay, you can increase the output. But other thing is increase the productivity. Per person contribution, per person output increases. QOL, increase productivity. Can do that. Productivity differences. So that is another way to increase the output. Not only the number, but also the productivity of the worker of a machine. Right? Productivity improves. For example, now the 1970s, 70s, 80s, up to 80s, late 80s, most of the commercial banks had only a labor-intensive the technology, labor-intensive thing. Then they start introducing the computers, online things. What will happen? What has happened? Huge improvement in productivity. People need not to go to the customer counters. Withdraw funds, withdraw money. Then sometimes cash deposits can be done. Balance, check the balance, transfer between accounts. Everything can be done without going to the, without entering into the bank. Right? Huge improvement, technological. Like that, productivity improvement is another way to increase the GDP, country's GDP. The statement is false. So they say GDP could be increased only by employing more labor and capital into the production. But no, keeping constant, same number of workers, same number of machine. If you can increase the productivity of a labor productivity, labor capital productivity, you can increase the output. Think about my example. 3 shirts per day. Initially, earlier, 10 people, 30 shirts per day. Now you increase the productivity, the more fringe benefits, health benefits, the medical benefits, the free lunch, so many things, training. Then you make person to increase the output from 3 to 5. 10 people, 50. Productivity improvement. That's the thing. Productivity. So countries' development, the development is the changes in development, stage of development is explained by macroeconomists. They discuss what are the factors, why Japan's per capita income is very high, their production level is very high compared to Sri Lanka, right? US and Sri Lanka. Huge differences in growth rate, GDP level, gross domestic product. One of the factors is the differences in productivity. Average productivity of Sri Lankan worker, average productivity of a Japanese worker in a factory. Huge difference, 1 to 30, 1 to 50. That is the main. So economists argue that mainly because of the differences in productivity is the key reason for these changes in differences in GDP, right? Productivity changes. Okay. Along a demand curve, what are fixed? Next question, part F. Along a demand curve, what are fixed? Tell me, what is the answer? Yeah. What are fixed? Along a demand curve, what are fixed? What are fixed? Other factors are fixed. What are these other factors? Along a demand curve, consumers' income, prices of other goods, taste, number of consumers, fixed. Along a demand curve, other factors, ceteris paribus. Along a supply curve, again, other factors fixed. When you move from one point to the another point along the supply curve, other factors are fixed. Prices of factors of production, constant. Government rules, regulations, constant. Technology, constant. Along this demand. If you change one of these factors, supply curve shifts. But given supply curve, other factors are held constant. Other factors are held constant. Name two factors that would shift the demand curve to the right. Let's say the increased number of consumers. increasing number of consumers. Then that is one of the factors. Demand curve shift to the right. If you change one of the other factors, two factors, then what will happen? Increase in price of chicken. Price of chicken will increase the demand for fish. Increase in the price of a substitute product will shift the demand curve to the right. Or falling the price of a complementary goods, shift the demand curve to the right. Right? Drop in price of sugar will increase the demand for tea, complementary tea and sugar complementary. You can say increase in price of a substitute goods, fall in price of a complementary goods, increasing number of consumers. Sometimes you can say increasing number of increasing consumers' income. Name two factors that would shift the supply curve to the left. Drop in production, increase in wages, increase in interest rate, price of land, prices of factors of production, shift the supply curve to the right. The drop in technology, drop in number of farmers, right? The decrease in number of suppliers, like that. Next one. Please answer these questions again. Understand, because these are highly related to the theory, and these are the types of questions asked you can expect in the past papers, in the examination, right? I chose this question mostly from the past paper question, right? Earlier papers you had this MCQs, short answer questions. Now these questions are from those papers, past papers, right? Okay. Type of question. Please understand the theory. Answer this. Maintain a separate book for the quizzes. You can take my notes, quizzes, and also your notes. Taking the note, you have to take a CR book and clearly write the answers to this one, detailed answers, right? Because what do you understand by the concept of elasticity? Explain briefly. Elasticity. Now, when you say, what do you understand in the exam? In most of the exams, there are two types of questions. Define price elasticity of demand. You have to give the perfect, correct, specific formula. What do you understand the price elasticity of demand? Then you have to explain formula, and you have to give the interpretation, your own opinion, your own view about this price elasticity of demand. So there are two types of questions. Define, what do you understand? Define, what do you mean? What do you understand? Most of the paper. Two different types. Define means specific, correct, answer should be there. Now here, what do you understand? Concept of elasticity. Elasticity concept, this can say it's a consumer's response. This concept measures the consumer's response to the change in price, or consumer's response to the price of the good, or consumer response to increases its own income elasticity, or the consumer response to quantity demanded when the price of another good changes, cross price elasticity. Some goods, when price of the good changes, consumer response is very quick, elastic. Some very slow, necessities. Price of rice, you don't change that much. Demand will not change that much. It is the consumer responsiveness of consumer to the change in price, or change in income, or change in price of other goods, like that. The price elasticity of supplies, farmers, the suppliers' response to the change in price of the good, right? Explain briefly. What are the different measures, elasticity measures studied in economics in general? In general, there are a large number of measures, but we discussed PD, ID, CPD, PES, price elasticity of demand, income elasticity of demand, cross price elasticity of demand, price elasticity of supply. We discussed four measures. Right. Elasticity, you can define. Define price elasticity. Now, this is define price elasticity of demand. income elasticity. You have to define. What is defined price elasticity? You write down the formula. Then you define. PD is the percentage change in quantity demanded when price of that good changes by 1%. For a 1% change in price of that good, when other factors are held constant, that also you can mention. Income elasticity of demand. ID is the percentage change in quantity demanded when consumers' income changes by 1%. Precise definition. When other factors are held constant. Right? Right. PD. Now this D and E, question number D and E are related, right? Put some brackets. D and E are related, right? No, the D, E and F. D, E, F. To answer the F, you need both information given in DE. D, E, F. To answer question number F, you need information from D and E. Price elasticity. PD for housing is minus 0.3. Price elasticity of demand is always negative. No? Inelastic demand, minus 0.3. What does that mean? When price increases by 1%, quantity demanded decreases by only 0.3%. Inelastic. If price decreases by 1%, quantity demanded will increase by 0.3%. Inelastic demand. If house price increases by 10%, this is defined for 1%. For 1%, 0.3. Now, question asks, if house price increase by 10%, the demand would increase by 0.3%. True or false? What will happen? True or false? If price increase by 10%, what will happen to demand? Demand increase or decrease? Demand increase or decrease? Demand will increase or decrease. If house price increase by 10%, what will happen to demand? First part, decreases. If house price increases, decreases. Then the question is 0.3% is correct or not? For 1%, 0.3. 10%, 3%. You multiply that by 10. 0.3 is defined, remember? We always define 0.3 for the price elasticity demand for 1% change. Price 1%, 0.3% change. This question asks if house price increases by 10%, then you have to multiply that 0.3 by 10, 3%. Quantity demanded would decrease by 3%. Statement is false. How do you correct that? If house prices increase by 10%, the demand would decrease by 3%. That's how we correct the statement. This statement is false, but you can correct that. Right? 3%. Remember, 0.3 only for 1%. 10%. 0.3 into 10, 3%. Right. ID for housing is 2.5. Income elasticity of demand is 2.5. What is housing? Luxury or necessity? Luxury or necessity. We said when income elasticity value is greater than 1, we classified that good or service as a luxury. This is a luxury. Housing a luxury, not a necessity. Necessity is between 0 and 1. Positive between 0 and 1. Necessity. But here greater than 1, income elasticity greater than 1, it's a luxury. What does that mean? When income increases by 1%, people increase the demand for housing is 2.5%. Very interesting. The demand would increase more than the increase in income. Right? Increase in income. That's what they are doing actually. Now people, when income increases, when household income increases, then people will go for not for normal houses with improved the infrastructure, condominium, with AC, right? With other facilities, the management, the security is there, car parkings are there, maintenance will be done by the this company or the builder. So then that is value added. Value additions are there. Now, when income increases, people will go for more and more value-added income. Demand will increase that. The luxury. Now, part F. To answer the part F, you need D and E. Read the part F. If the prices of houses and the consumer income increase by 10% each, house price increased by 10%, consumers income increased by 10%. What would be the net change in demand for housing? When price increased by 10%, quantity demanded will go down by 3%. True? That is, why is that? PD is 3.3. When house price increased by 10%, quantity demand decreased by 3%. Then, when income increased by 10%, quantity demand would increase by 25%. 10%? 1%, 2.5, 10%, 25%. Now, this is interesting. When house price increases by 10%, demand would go down by 3%. When income increases by 10%, demand would increase by 25%. If both increases by 10%, what will happen? One increases by when income, due to income increase, demand would increase by 25%. Due to increase in prices, demand would go down by 3%. Therefore, net change how much? 25 minus 3, 22%. 22%. Demand, what would be the net change in demand for housing? Understand the answer? When price increase by 10%, quantity demand decreases by 3%. When income increases by 10%, quantity demand increases by 25%. Therefore, net change is plus 25 minus 3, 22. Demand would be net change in demand for housing. This is from one of the American book, the paper. It's very interesting. Just to understand definition of the interpreting the elasticities, price and income elasticities, and calculate. Part G. What do you expect the cross price elasticity between laptops and desktop computers? Answer. Can you answer me? What is the answer? What do you expect? Cross price elasticity between laptops and desktops computers. Positive or negative? Positive or negative? Tell me. CPED. Go to the CPED note. Cross price elasticity of demand. Positive when two goods are substitutes. Cross price elasticity of demand negative when two goods are complementary goods. Cross price elasticity of demand 0 when the two goods are not related. Laptops and desktops generally substitutes. There are some degree of substitutability. There are no, because you can do most of the functions using either laptops or the desktop, right? Laptop or desktops. Therefore, they are substitute product. For substitute product, if you calculate their elasticity, cross price elasticity between them, it will be positive. What does that mean? When desktop price increases, demand for laptops increases. When desktop price decreases, demand for laptop decreases. Substitute goods, positive, right? They are positive. Right, this question. Now, question before 3, I will go to the question number 4. Right? 4. Question number 4. Demand curve. P is 20 minus 5P. SC is minus 4 plus 7P for a consumer good. Find the equilibrium quantity, price elasticity of demand, price elasticity of supply, interpret PD and PS. Should the government put the maximum price, right? This is important question, right? I didn't discuss in my normal lecture. Now this demand curve is linear. Linear demand curve can be represented using mathematical equation. Negatively sloped line. Supply curve is positively sloped. That also can be represented using equation. Quantity demanded D is a function of price. Some mathematical relationship can be given 20 minus 5p. Why it is minus? There's a negative relationship between demand and the price. Supply and the price. There's a positive relationship between plus 7p. Supply and the price positively related. Minus 4 at the moment, don't think about that. We want to check what is the sign between price and the demand, minus 5. What is the sign between supply and price? Plus 7. Plus is important. Plus. So using these two, we can calculate the equilibrium price and quantity. Right? I will go to the board. Supply curve, quantity supplied, minus 4 plus 7p. 7p. Quantity demanded, demand plus 5p. What is this number here? This number is how much? I can't see the board now. What is the number here? Intercept how much? 10, no? Hello? What is the intercept? Intercept how much? Formula is there. What is intercept?
Minus 4.
No, minus 4 is supply. Demand? Because I don't have the number. I don't have this.
20.
20. Right?
Yep.
20, correct. Supply curve and the demand. Now, if you draw the demand curve, this is the shape. Now, this sign is important. Sorry, this is minus. I'm sorry, this is minus. Minus 1. This sign is white. What does that mean? There is a negative relationship between price and quantity demanded. When other factors are considered, the demand curve. Other factors are concerning income, the prices of other goods, number of consumers, expected future price, they are constant. We are talking about demand schedule and the demand curve. This is also important. Supply side, this is important. We know that generally there is a positive relationship between price and quantity supply. There is a negative relationship between price and quantity demanded. The intercept at the moment, don't think about that. You can, these numbers or the signs, not that important. See this. Now, if you draw the demand curve, quantity and the price. I don't put QD or QS because I am going to draw both demand and supply. Only demand curve, supply curve. Equilibrium price and quantity. Right? This is the complete diagram. Demand curve, downward sloping, negative relationship between price and quantity demand. Supply curve, upward sloping, positive relationship between price and quantity supply. Right? Demand curve. Demand curve. You can say this is okay. You can write down this like this. QD equals 20 minus 5. This you can say is equals minus 4 plus 70. These are the two equations. Right? These are called a mathematical approach to demand and supply curves. Theory of demand, mathematical approach. Right? And the first question they ask, calculate the equilibrium price and quantity demanded. What is Q star? What is P star? Q star and P star. How do you calculate? To calculate that, we want to know what is equilibrium. At equilibrium, we said both parties are happy. Consumers and the producers both are happy. Sellers and the buyers are happy. They want to transaction. Go ahead with this transaction. Consumers are willing to buy Q star at P star. Producers are willing to sell Q star at P star. In other words, at equilibrium, quantity demanded equals quantity supplied. That is economics part of that theory. At equilibrium, B equals S, S equals D, D equals S. This is the economics of that. Quantity demanded equals quantity supplied. Consumers are willing to buy Q star at P star. Producers are willing to sell Q star at P star. No excess demand, no excess supply. These are, if you calculate when you do in the examination, this statement is must, very important. That explains the economics of market forces. All other things mathematics. All other things mathematics. Right? QD 20 minus 5P. 20 minus 5P equal minus 4 plus 7P. If you take 5P this side, minus 4 this side, 20 plus 4 equals 7P plus 5P. That means 12P. 24. 24. P equals 24 divided by 12. Equilibrium price 2. Quantity, the demanded or quantity supplied, if you substitute these two into either the demand equation or the supply equation, you get the quantity supply. So let's substitute 2 into the equation. D equals 20 minus 2P, 5P. D equals 20 minus 5 into 2. D equals 20 minus 10. D equals 10. Or you get the same answer if you substitute that to supply curve. S equals minus 4 plus 7P. S equals minus 4 plus 7 into P is 2. S equals minus 4 plus 14. 14 minus 4 is 10. Quantity demanded equals quantity supplied. That is the equilibrium price and quantity. Equilibrium quantity. Answer to the first question. Answer to the first question. Because the mathematical approach in most of the past papers, you get this kind of mathematical question. First part they ask calculate equilibrium price and quantity. Second part they ask what will happen. What is the second question here? Understand now? Calculation. You can understand this. I'm going to erase this, only keep this thing. Right? Right. Okay. Next question. Price elasticity of demand at equilibrium, at point, this point. The price elasticity of demand at a particular point. Again, price elasticity of supply at a particular point, equilibrium point. So this is called a point elasticity of demand. Another concept called arc elasticity of demand. Now here this question they ask point elasticity of demand. Point. At a point. Right? At a point. Then I will give the formula, right? Price elasticity of demand, PD. PD at point E equal, at point E equal. I will give the formula P over Q, supply slope of demand curve. P over Q at this point, price divided by quantity. Price 2, quantity 10. Slope of the demand curve, we take this minus 5. Demand curve is this one. Slope of the demand curve, D and P. Slope is this sign is the slope of demand. Minus 5. Understand? P over Q, slope. P over Q, slope. Slope is minus 5. P over Q. Then 2 divided by 5 minus 5. That means 2 divided by 10 is 5. Right? 5 into 5, then minus 1. Price elasticity of demand at point at equilibrium is minus 1. Unitary elastic demand. Demand is unitary elastic. It is not inelastic or relatively elastic or relatively inelastic. This is unitary elastic. When price increases by 1%, quantity demand decreases by 1%. If price decreases by 1%, quantity demand increases by 10%. 1%. Unitary elastic demand. Unitary elastic. Demand. Then price elasticity of supply, same formula, PES. Price elasticity of supply is at E, point E. P over Q, slope of what? Supply curve. Slope of supply curve. P over Q, 2 divided by 10. Slope of supply curve is plus 7. Plus 7. Plus 7. Then 2 divided by 10 is 5 plus 7. That means 7 divided by 5. That means 1.2. 1.2. Sorry, 1.4. No? 1.4. 1.4. Supply elasticity. This is elastic supply. Elasticity greater than 1. Elastic greater than 1. Elastic, relatively elastic. Relatively elastic supply. We complete that. Understand? We defined what is equilibrium. We calculated equilibrium price and quantity. Then we calculated point elasticity. Price elasticity of demand at a point at equilibrium. Point elasticity. Then price elasticity of supply at equilibrium. Point elasticity. Formula, if you know the formula, you can easily calculate these values. Unitary elastic, relatively elastic supply. Understand? That's all. Next question is a policy question. What do you think? What is the next question? Read that. Read that question. Read that question. Can you read the question? Can you read the question loudly? Because I don't have the question. Can you read the last question? What is that question? Read this, please. Please read that. Because in the screen I can't see. What is the question? Otherwise I have to go to the lesson. What is the question? Hello? What is the question? Please read out the question. Last question. Okay. Okay.
Should the government set the maximum price for this good at price equals 1 or price equals 3?
Yes. Should the government set the maximum price for this good at P equals 1 or P equals 3? Okay. P equals 1 or P equals 3. What is the answer? Maximum price. Now what will happen? We know the equilibrium price is 2. Equilibrium price is 2. It's a very interesting question. Should the government impose the maximum price? Maximum price is ceiling price at 1, ₹1 or 3 rupees. What is the question? What is the answer? What is your answer? What is the answer? Maximum price. Should the government impose the ceiling price at ₹1? Or should the government impose the ceiling price? 3. Yes, what is the question? What is the answer?
At 1 rupee?
At ₹1. Good, very good. Why is that? Because the ceiling price is, what is the purpose of the ceiling price? The market determined price is high. Then government thinks we have to control the price. This price is too high, poor people cannot afford this good, therefore we have to control the price. The control price should be below the market clearing price, ceiling price, at ₹1. Ceiling price, if it is a floor price, definitely it is above that. So the government announces, okay, we are going to control this price of this item. Traders, they issue a gazette notification whether it is effective or not. Gazette, okay. Hereafter, the maximum price you can sell this, the maximum unit price that the trader can sell this item is $1 per unit. Because the market clearing price is $2 per unit. Understand? So whether it is effective or not. Now, so far our government also has issued so many the gazette notification imposing control price, ceiling prices for various items, especially rice. But they are not effective. They are not effective. Why is that? People criticize us those things. Why is that? Because the implementation cost is there. You can issue circular, you can issue a gazette. After that, you can catch people. You have to go and catch people, those who sell at a higher price, charge higher prices. Then you put them to courts. Then you need lawyers to go to courts and prove the case. Then you make the fine. The court might impose a fine, 100,000, 200,000, like that, or put him to jail. This is costly. You need price controllers. You need lawyers. You have to file the case. Costly. Implementation cost is huge. That is the problem. That is the problem. Why these government circulars are not effective? That's a notification are not effective. Still, there is a question of resources. Question of resource. Government doesn't have the enough resources to implement. Implementation cost, right? Then some economists argue, don't try to control this these prices. Price controls are ineffective. Let prices to be determined by market force. Not impose this price control 1, or the let market price would be 2. Let people to decide. Buy the quantities at 2 rupees. Some people buy 1 kilogram. Some people buy 500 grams, 200 grams, 100 grams. It doesn't matter. People might decide. That is another argument. There is no cost at all. Nowadays, price controls are very inefficient and ineffective way of ineffective policies in the market economy. Especially this very difficult to control. Very difficult to impose this. Implementation, releasing the circular is very simple, but implementation cost is huge, right? So the best policy is no policy, right? Best policy is no policy. Let market forces to decide, right? So the one can argue, no, that's bad. Therefore, they are very poor people are there. They cannot afford. Yes, but what is the effect? It is not effective. Still, people will have to buy rice at a very high cost. Yesterday, I bought the raw white Sudhal, 93 rupees per kilogram from the Apico, the supermarket. White raw white, yes. But in the same supermarket, there were some rice bags, Kiri Samba, that is 205, no? 5 kg bag, 205 per kilogram. Yeah, 205 is around 1,000 something, right? 205 rupees per kilogram, right? Right, that is the Kiri, the raw white, it is 93. Huge price differentiation, price difference. The red also very quite cheap actually, 90 something. If it is expensive, but 90 something, right? So the it depends what your requirement. Now in my case, I eat raw white or the raw red or right? I don't go for Kiri because they say for diabetic patients it's not good. Either you go for these things or so many things, right? Okay. Anyway, that is the answer to this one. We discussed so many policy issues also. The effectiveness of government policies, the implementation, the imposing of the price ceiling, implementation of price ceiling, two different things, two different aspects, right? So that's right. Okay. Next question. So this thing I spent a little bit more time because I didn't cover that in the usual lecture. That's why I spent more time. Right. That is the question number 4. Question number 4. Now we will go to the question number 3. Question number 3 also very interesting. Read the question. Read the question. Clearly, read twice. Suppose that the market demand curve for haircuts in some town is T equals 80 minus 2P plus 5I. So it's different from normal demand curve. I variable is there, income variable. So it doesn't matter because in the demand curve, demand side, the function, you have so many other variables, no? Price, not only price, income, number of consumers, the expected future price, like that. Now, in this demand curve is a special demand curve. They have included two variables. Demand depends on price and income. Other factors, remaining factors, constant. Right? It doesn't matter. Where D is quantity demanded per month, P is price per haircut, I is consumer income in $1,000. The supply curve is S equal 4P. This is a special supply curve, no intercept. It doesn't matter. Positive relationship is there. Demand and price, negative, -2, minus. Supply and price, positive. It's okay, no problem. No, the intercept doesn't matter. According to this model, are haircuts a normal or inferior good? Very interesting question. What is your answer? How to decide? By looking at demand function, equation, can you decide whether haircut's normal or an inferior? Yes, you can. If you are done, if you can remember what is a normal good, then you can easily by looking at this equation, you can decide whether it is a normal low and an inferior. Anybody make a try? What is haircut? Yes, by looking at this. Let me ask question. What is the normal good? What is normal good? What is a normal good or service? Normal good, what is the special characteristic of normal good? Normal good and inferior goods are defined in relation to income, not in relation to price. What is a normal good? Please answer my question. What is a normal good? Yes? Normal good is what? What is a normal good?
When the income increases, the quantity demanded
Good.
will increase.
Right. Perfectly correct. When income increases, quantity demanded increases. When other factors are held constant. Normal good. Inferior good, when income increases, quantity demanded decreases for an inferior good. In other words, for a normal good, there is a positive relationship between income and demand. For an inferior good, there is a negative relationship between income and demand. Understand? Now, this demand curve, if you look at this demand curve, what kind of relationship between demand and I, income and demand? Positive or negative? Positive or negative? Income and demand, positive or negative? If you look at this, income and demand, what is the relationship? Plus 5, plus. This plus sign is there. Then, when income increases, demand increases. Income increases, demand increases. That is the meaning of plus 5, plus sign. So, therefore, haircut, according to this demand curve, it is a normal good. There's a positive relationship between income and demand. Why do you say plus? This is a plus 5. Plus sign is there. Income and demand. Price and demand minus. Minus 2 is there. But here we are talking about income and demand. Plus. Haircut, according to this equation, it is a normal good. A normal good. Right? Normal good. Not an inferior good. Right. Now, next question. Suppose I equals 3. Find the equilibrium price and quantity of haircuts. Now, this is interesting. Now they define fix I. Then find the equilibrium price and quantity of haircut. Supply curve is there, no? S equal 4P. But demand curve, you have to calculate demand curve by substituting this 3 into the demand function. 80 minus 2P plus 5 into 3. I equals 3. 15. Therefore, 80 minus 2P plus 5 into 3 is 15. 80 plus 15 is 95. New demand curve is D equals 95 minus 2P. Why? I equals 3. Income 3. You fix the income. Then you substitute the 3 into the demand function. 3 into 5. 15. 80 plus 15, 95. New demand curve is what? 95 minus 2P. Supply curve, 4P. Then you can calculate equilibrium price and quantity of haircuts. Understand? Okay, let's go to the board. Right. I take down this demand function equals 80 minus I equals 3. I equals 3. Right? Okay. Right. Right. Okay. Now what will happen? You have to calculate first demand curve in terms of D and P. You substitute this 3 into this. Yeah. Then you can calculate D equals 80 minus 2P plus 5 into 3 equals therefore 80 minus 2P plus 15 equals 90 minus 95. This is the demand curve. First to calculate when income is $3,000 per month, what is the quantity demanded? You substitute this 3 into the demand curve. Supply curve. Now we have demand and supply. Can you calculate price, equilibrium price and quantity, please? I will give you 5 minutes to calculate. At equilibrium, D equals S. Please calculate price, equilibrium price and quantity. Can you calculate? 5 minutes. Take 5 minutes and let me know the answer. Calculate D and S. D equals S. $95 divided by 6.
15.83.
How much?
15.83.
Yes. 15.83. Good. 15.83. Dollars. Per haircut, you have to spend $15.83. These are US. This is from one of the US book. The $15 per haircut. Quantity how much? You substitute this into either supply or demand equation. Let's say supply 4 into 95 for P for 6. For then it is the 2 and 3, then 3. 3, yes.
3.32.
Yes. 60. 63, no?
63.32.
63.32. 63.32. Then if you draw the diagram, it's like this. Quantity of haircuts, price per haircut, price of haircut, HC, haircut. If it is a supply curve, no intercept, therefore this is going through the origin. Supply curve. D equals 95 minus 2P. 2P. Now this quantity is this one. Quantity 63.32. Price $15. This is in dollars. 15.83. $15.83 per haircut. How many rupees? Let's calculate in terms of Sri Lankan rupees. What is the exchange rate today? Exchange rate today at 200. How much? 203. Is it 3,213? If the exchange rate is 203, we can calculate 15.83 into 203. 3,280 in rupee terms. Why haircut? In developed countries, it's very expensive. Haircut is very expensive, right? Haircut is very expensive. $3,000, 3,000 rupees. Dollars, $15. Now maybe it's nowadays it's much higher. $20 and the $3,200 rupees in Sri Lankan case, right? But generally the haircut in Sri Lanka it is not that expensive. In my case, of course, I have lots of hair. No? I don't spend that much, maybe 150, 200 rupees, 250 because I am addicted because to one barber, the salon they side. But there's a product differentiation in haircut. Different, you all are young people, these young guys always you have different haircuts. So when it's expensive, 300, 400, 500, sometimes 1,000, 1,500, especially ladies, the haircuts very highly expensive. Product differentiation is there in the haircut, right? This is the US case 15.83, right? Now, next question is very interesting. Now, what will happen? Now, remember in my case, as I said earlier, these days I don't get a haircut. I don't go to salon, especially because of this COVID. I take my haircuts my own with the help of my wife. Okay, right? Then next question. What is the next question? Next question is, because of a recession, I fall to 2. How will this affect to the haircut market? Now, income falls from 3,000 to 2,000. Recession means income decreases. GDP decreases. Price decreases. Now, in 2008, most of the recession, US economy had the recession. Income, prices both decrease, price level decrease, right? Recession. Now here income decrease to recession. Of course, recession is defined when GDP reported negative growth rate for 2 consecutive quarters. Then it is defined as the economy is experiencing a recession. 2 consecutive quarters. First quarter -2, second quarter -3, like that. Then economists define that as a recession. Recession definition is that, right? But in Sri Lankan case, in most of the countries in the world, because of the COVID, also they went to recession. Huge drop in oil prices, GDP negative, recession, right? Then people's income decreases from 3 to 2. Then I wanted to calculate new demand curve. How do you calculate new demand curve? You substitute 2. Income decreases. Then what will the whole demand curve comes down? You change one of the other factors. Income 3 to 2. Demand curve shift down. Let's go to the board now. Yeah. Now what will happen? Yeah. Now what will happen? I2. You substitute I2 here. Calculate new demand curve. New demand curve is this. D equals 80 minus plus 80 minus 2p plus 5 into 2. This time demand curve is 90 minus 2p. Supply curve 4p. Now you have to calculate new demand curve, new equilibrium price and quantity demanded. What will happen? Along this demand curve, income is 3. New demand curve, income decreases, demand curve comes down. D2, D1, D1. I equals 2. Then new equilibrium price is here. Quantity decreases because of this. What is new price? New price, how much? Can you calculate? E1. So the demand curve shifts down. 90 minus 2p, 4p. Quickly calculate. D equals S. Same supply. 90 minus 2p equals 4p. 6p equals 90. P equals 15 now. P equals 15. $15. Now it has come down to haircut price comes down to $15. Right? Quantity you can calculate 15 into 4. 15 into 4, 60. 60. Now these are the changes in the this is the answer to the last part. The graphically you have represented this thing. Because due to the recession, people's income decreased from 3 to 2. Demand decreases. Demand curve changes from 95 minus 2p to 90 minus 2p. Demand shifts. Same supply. Now what will happen? Equilibrium price changes from E to E dash, E1. Equilibrium price 15, 60. This is a very good question. Please, this covers lots of things. Equilibrium price, quantity, demand and supply. Not only that, the demand side shock to the economy. Recession, demand decreases. This has happened because of the COVID-19. We started the COVID world experience started experiencing COVID 2019 September October period. Then whole year 2020 COVID. Then 21 still it is not finished, right? Then what will happen? Demand for oil decrease, huge drop in the demand for oil. Oil price went down to around $30 per barrel. Now it is 80. Is gradually picking up. Why demand went down? Tourism. No tourism. No import-export trade. Right? World was shrinking. Demand curve, huge shift in the demand for oil curve. Demand for oil. Demand decrease. Demand decrease. Earlier it was the $70, $80. Demand curve shifts to the left, around $30 per barrel. Right? COVID. Now it is gradually picking up because the people's movement is now rising, increasing. But still, problem is there. Now we have the new variant, Delta variant is coming. Countries now in US, in most of the other countries, most of the countries in the world, US, Australia, now they have locked down two big states, Victoria and the New South Wales, lockdown. Right? People can't move. You can drive further away if you drive. Yesterday, one of my friends' son talked to me. He said $10,000 to violate that restriction. $10,000. Right? That's all. They stick to that one. Lockdown because of the Delta variant is coming. US again. That's interesting. This interesting. Most of the states where the vaccination level is low, percentage of population that has vaccinated, got 2 vaccines, very low. Now in those states, COVID, the problem is coming up. Percentage of this, the affected people, the patients are rising, number of patients are increasing, not vaccinated. That implies that get the vaccination. Get the vaccination, as far as the possible, try to get the vaccines. Even in your case, if you have the opportunity to get the vaccine, it's there's some degree of protection, not around 80%, 70% the protection is there. So that's important. Now in developed country, there is another aspect. Some misinformations are there. Even US now there's a huge problem. People are not getting vaccinated. They don't want to get the vaccine. Misinformed. They are telling so many things about this the vaccine. it's not good, it's not, that is bad. So many long run effect is there, blood clots are there, where there are no the scientific basis for this one. Now the President Biden now he himself announced, okay, this misinformation, now we are going to control this the social media, because of this misinformation are spread through the social media, right? That is another thing. Developed country, this resistance is there, hesitance to get the vaccination. But in our country, we have the scarcity of vaccines. Number of vaccines are not enough. Vaccines are there, not there. My request is you all to get the first opportunity to get the vaccine, get it done. That's the best approach, best strategy. Okay. Thank you very much. We'll see you next week. Saturday. We'll. Other question, I want to try that. Please answer this question. And other question also easy. Please try that. Next week I will start from answering this next question. Right? Completely. Thank you very much. We'll stop now. Thank you. Hello, can you hear me? Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Please be careful, because the take care. Stay home. If you go out, please wear the masks and the wipers. That's important.